Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
And it's Thursday, so we are going to serve it.
We are always serving it, but Thursdays are the best days to serve it.
Thursdays is almost Fridays around here, and I feel unencumbered and more open and free.
Me too. I don't have anybody holding me back.
That's a really dangerous thing.
You know what? I don't regret not wanting to run for any office. And now if somebody nominates me out, I might do it, but I'm not going to go out of my way.
Where'd that come from? Hell no. But people are always trying to draft you or me or both of us.
I know. It's so funny. Isn't it funny? How's your week been so far?
Week's been good.
Has it?
Keep it,
busy.
It's been very busy.
If you're not following Sloan on X, you really have no idea how busy she's been. But I'm not going to talk about that. You can go follow her and find out.
You can follow and find out. Always busy, never a dull moment. Evil never sleeps, and neither do we.
Right. And I know we're going to talk about illegals to start the segment.
Yeah. Speaking of evil.
Yeah. I wanted to just say, I think it's very interesting. The judge down in Texas thinks that he can do a class action lawsuit for La Trinta Agua or whatever they're called, and just basically say they can stay in Texas and the ACLU will pay for all their lawyers.
Oh, right. And the ACLU needs to be looked at as the fifth column.
How many Americans don't get free legal service from the ACLU? But that's right. But now all these illegals, 800 of them, all get their very own attorney on us.
Yeah, and these rat bastards that are being kicked out of Columbia's campus, et cetera, when they've been saying they wanted to kill Jews. So they're entitled to free speech, but Americans are not.
Right.
And we're seeing that an awful lot. So I think between the time we got off air on Tuesday and today, we heard a horrific story of a mother in Garner. So Garner, North Carolina, for those of you that don't live around here, it's really kind of a bedroom community, if you will, of Raleigh. You just don't see a lot of high crime there. And we got an Amber Alert for a mother and an infant that were taken at gunpoint by three masked people coming in to the home. So let me play this for you, and let's get caught up on what's happening on this case.
Authorities are searching for the person who kidnapped a mother and her 11-month-old daughter. Garner police say the pair are safe after someone took them from their home while wearing masks and showing guns. An Amber Alert went out overnight, and now the good news is they're safe. WREL's Carly Haynes is live now with what police say about a new 911 call. Carly?
Garner police tell us that a person had called 911 after that mom and her baby showed up to her Wake Forest home asking for help.
So that's what happened. She was taken, she was abducted, and then her husband there was $1 million demand for the return of the mother and daughter. And now we know that this pair, literally, their last names are Duran. Both of these rat bastards came in. And this guy is now wanted. He has not been apprehended. The FBI is looking for him. These all three are illegals who came into this country and kidnapped a mother and an infant in front of the husband for ransom.
So we are now in the same state of affairs as South America is, where they will capture and kidnap Americans for money. And we just got hostages back that were gone for 4 years And Trump was the one to get him back. And now we're having to worry about people in our own state and our country being kidnapped. Children.
I think I made a X post. Is this Bogota? Because that's what they do in Colombia.
They do.
So we're importing these wild ass crimes. This is exactly what they do. That people are getting taken from their home. And this guy is wanted, the one from the FBI. He's wanted. He's a felon. Now, why in the hell is he a felon and an illegal? So he's been charged with a felony also. So that's backed up on the heels of this. This was 3 weeks ago. Watch this.
Police in Lee County have arrested this man. They say he abducted and raped a teenage girl. Warren Show 41-year-old Victor Bustamante contacted the victim through Facebook. WRO's Monica Casey explains what happened next.
Victor Bustamante faced a judge here in Lee County this morning. He was given a $3 million bond. The 41-year-old man faces multiple felony charges. The Lee County Sheriff's Office says they started investigating after a 14-year-old girl didn't come home from school yesterday. They say Bustamante picked her up and took her to a hotel here in Sanford.
Wow.
Okay, my daughter is 14. The thought of her not coming home and having anyone kidnap her and take her to a motel room and rape her, we're importing these kind of crimes. This is very, 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 very serious here.
So the question, I have some questions about both of these cases. I mean, there's some, like, how did those people get in the house to kidnap that woman and the baby? But we don't know that yet. We'll find it out. This Bustamante guy, how did he know about that victim? He clearly had some contact with her on Facebook, but was it a coordinated effort? I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go have ice cream. Like, we don't know, but it's still eliciting a child for rape.
And if not for them being in the country, a mother and a family and an infant, and then another family and a 14-year-old daughter would not be traumatized right now. We don't need to be importing these crimes. But let me show you, and that's the tip of the iceberg, sadly, because I just took a smattering of people that had been arrested the first 2 weeks of April, just some of them. And these are the kinds of crimes that we're talking about here.
This guy's in Asheville. I saw this case.
Okay, statutory rape of a 15-year-old or under should not be in this country. Okay, here we go. Communicating death threats and assault with a deadly weapon to inflict injury. Forsyth County should not be in this country. Here we go. Kidnapping. This seems to be a common theme, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's
15
really kind
teenage girls are being kidnapped and raped on our streets. I mean, we know that this happens in Europe. We've been hearing about it for the last decade with the influx of illegals coming in. Muslim gangs will gang rape girls, not hundreds, tens of thousands.
But they say in Sweden, which used to be the least crime-ridden country in Europe, it's now the most crime-ridden, and rape is one of the top issues that they face there that they never faced, 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
The country's unrecognizable, and ours is to be.
And it happens quickly.
Yes. Yeah, it can happen in a decade. And that's what we're seeing here. So I want you guys to know, because, I'm not hearing this from WRAL. I'm not hearing this from WBT in Charlotte. I'm not hearing this from WGBN in Greensboro. I'm not hearing this in any of the 15 mass media markets here at all.
Which happen to coincide with sanctuary cities.
Oh, interesting. All right. This is in Chatham County, right down from me. Dare County. Stalking and assaulting by pointing a gun. So we've seen guns in all of these.
How they get those guns. Imagine that. And they want to limit our gun rights, but that we're clearly showing where criminals get guns.
Right. So they want to disarm us. And I mean that literally. The Democrats have put up some pretty crazy bills this session. They don't want us to have guns, but they want, these guys to have guns. I mean, these guys are Democrats have completely changed what it means to be a U.S. citizen. They've tried to water it down. So it means that anyone who is in here for any reason, illegal or not, on a visa or not, and planning terrorism, it doesn't matter. They have all the rights of an American citizen, plus, to your point, free lawyers, right? And they have some super duper First Amendment right, where they can say whatever the hell they want and threaten to kill people. And actually, they get away with it. But if you or I ever did that or didn't do it,
right, we'd still be accused of it, and we'd have to pay for our own attorney. Not only that, they get free healthcare, free food, and a free place to stay right now in Texas in the nice summer heat down there. Now they can't leave Brownsville, Texas area, but I mean that's not a bad gig if you're homeless and you don't have anywhere to go.
it's unbelievable. This is what we mean by America First. This is what people voted for when they voted for America First. It's what Democrats voted for with America First. Get this. Okay, this is actually, I put that in there. I didn't realize that this happened in September. This is a Muslim guy. Disabled, exploitation of disabled or elderly. But again, I put it in there because it's a second Dare County one. We have a lot of Dare County ones, actually. Catawba County, here we go. It's the crimes against children. This is a red alert, Margot.
Yeah, it is.
Third one.
It's really scary. And what we found out today is we know that they imported these people with all these sexual crimes that had crimes in their other countries. And the Biden administration said, oh, come on in. We'll give you a sex class, a sex therapy class, and we'll put some ankle monitors on you and you'll be fine.
Restorative justice. Is that what it was?
It's a bunch of crap is what that is.
This is evil, pure evil. Drug trafficking and concealed carrying weapon. They should not be in this country. So it's drugs, it's sex. I mean, this is in Union County. Union County is an enclave of Charlotte, pretty conservative. In fact, we've had, the mayor. We have Mayor Robert on from Union County. Okay, trafficking opium and heroin. I mean, these, like I said, this is just the highlight of what's
there's
been
more.
going on. There's
more. These are just the ones we came up with quickly. If we had done our deep dive and done research, which we haven't done because honestly, we would be buried in it. We would really be, we're just highlighting across the state.
And that should give you an example of the kinds of crimes that are going on. You see that they target the elderly. You see that they target children. That's what they do. You see they've got firearms, women, children. Yeah. So, I bring this up, we need to keep bringing this up because under the backdrop of that, there were some bills like literally yesterday that were put up and Democrats voted them down.
Of course they did.
Well, this particular one, this is a Senate bill that got through yesterday, enhancement of immigration-related crimes. 3 quick points. Felony enhancement for illegal reentry. By the way, illegal reentry is, it's a good deal of these right here.
You'd think that would have already been a felony, but here we are.
Yeah, I really don't know. I really don't know why that is. Misdemeanor boosted to felony. So that means if you have a DUI, because the DUIs are killer. They do kill, right? If you've got a DUI, you've got something like that, then you get that. So I just want to show you. This happened in Mecklenburg County last month. 6, and by the way, all of them are illegal reentry. All of them were apprehended the first week in Mecklenburg County, and the sheriff still is playing bullshit games with ICE. And this one guy, this Raul Rojas, charged with possession, intent to distribute cocaine, possession of firearms, and trafficking.
Well, we have a bill that we hope passes. It's going to be vetoed, but we hopefully have a supermajority to really take the sheriffs on that keep don't keep these detainers in. And we really need to start making a point of highlighting those every week, because this doesn't just affect Charlotte or Greensboro. Because when these people get out, they don't go back there. They go anywhere they can. They'll go back there when they want to, but they go around the state to commit their crimes, and other states, South Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, you name it, they're going to go.
Well, they need the stiffest penalty possible. And I will say, to the credit of some Democrats, and I gave them a shout out today, the last bill that we just put up here, okay, that would enhance these. Now you'll notice that these don't boot them the hell out of the country.
Right.
Okay? They're just stiffening the penalty. So let's not, break our arms here, patting Democrats on the back. But you do see some
Look
who
at that
voted-
Prather from Asheville, Buncombe
That's right,
County's in there.
that voted in the affirmative. Okay. Now this bill, this is a coup de grace. Okay. This is the one, the House bill did make it. It did cross over into the Senate, right?
Mhm.
And it did pass. It checks for immigration status. Jail officials must verify the status. Anyone shoplifting, whatever it is, you steal a pack of gum, because you don't know, right? I mean,
Right.
they could have a kidnapped girl in the back of their car. ICE detainer process may be held up to, I don't like the may be held. Their ass must be held. And actually, I think the federal bill is must be held.
It is must be.
Okay. That makes more sense. Judicial oversight. A judge must verify the detainer matches the individual and improve the hold before release. Pretrial hold, 2 hour applies to pretrial, et cetera, et cetera. It's really a timing game, Margo, making sure that ICE has enough time to get there, right? So here's what it does. Flags illegal aliens. We have to have that in sanctuary cities. Enforces the law on the books. How about that one?
Hold those sheriffs accountable. That's what we need to do. They're not going to do it themselves.
Well, now here's the vote on that one. So as we're getting news of the kidnapping, we're getting news of all these people. Now you see, Democrats will vote for a stiffer penalty if an illegal is caught here, but they do not want them out of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, Democrats are not fit to lead.
Shout out to Representative Cunningham from Charlotte, Mecklenburg area, who stood with the Republicans on that. I mean, I said that early on our show the other day, but this actually shows it. And I'm very proud of her for taking care of her constituents.
Charlotte, Mecklenburg is one of the worst. We just put up what's been going on there. And, this is a representative who actually cares about her people. But look, the Democrats voted it down. The Democrats are totally fine, completely fine with illegals staying in this country. So I want to put this up to you again. I want you to see this again. These are the names of 6 illegals just in 1 week. I actually was in a 2-day period in Mecklenburg County alone. And each and every single one of them, you guys, came in again for a second time. We had a mass murder of, I think, 4 or 5 people were shooting, and one was killed in Charlotte with 2 teenagers who were in a gang who had re-entered the country. If we had had the law that the House is trying to pass here, this never would have happened.
And they only talk about the reentry offenses on that docket that you just showed. They don't actually show the crimes that they committed prior or after. And that's kind of sad because
They
were heinous. Yeah.
We do with Rohan. That was trafficking of firearms, et cetera, which is the typical. And so, guys, what I'm trying to tell you is that I cannot think of one good reason why you would not want illegal criminals booted the hell out of this country.
Well, I think, truthfully, that the Democrats believe 2 things. One, I think that they truly believe that they're going to be able to use these people to vote, which that's not going to happen now because of what happened today. We'll talk about that in a minute, in North Carolina anyway. And these people are placeholders for the census. And that helps the Democrats. And also, I think they truly believe they're going to win on the anchor baby thing, which they're not. They're not going to win on that.
On birthright citizenship. Yeah, that's another one that Attorney General Jeff Jackson. Now, look, he's not for law and order. He's not doing a damn thing about this. I just showed you a tiny thumbnail sketch, you guys, of the illegals that have been caught doing horrible, despicable things to women and children.
And he's not advocating to help us.
No, you know what he's doing? He's got what? Upwards of 11 lawsuits now?
Against all of this. Not for it.
Right. He's trying to do anything that he can to obstruct Trump. He's not up there taking the bully pulpit on this. He's not doing anything about this. So, everybody in this state should be extremely scared. We need to be really cued into the sheriff races that are coming up. They all have to be won by Republicans for sure. That is the closest you have to a constitutional officer in your town. Is your sheriff.
The sheriff has more power than anyone in your county.
Yeah.
And if you don't elect a sheriff that is going to protect you, why do you have them? I don't think anybody, and I'm not talking about Republicans, I'm talking about citizens. You pay for safety. That is part of your taxes. And if you have a sheriff that isn't willing to stand up for you for the taxes that you pay, because you're paying a salary with it too, and all of their, people that work under them, how sad is that? How sad is it that you're just literally throwing your money away and let it burn?
Well, I think the days of Americans, even conservatives, trusting and believing everything their police and sheriffs say and do, I think that's over. Definitely over. We've got to trust but verify. But to your point, very big news came out today, and I want you to tell us about this. The Board of Elections, the State Board of Elections, received 3 new people on it because Treasurer Dave Bolak appointed them. Tell them.
No, auditor. So the state auditor has won the legal so far, has won the lawsuit, which means that the majority of the state election board will now be Republican, and all county election boards will now have a majority of Republicans. And these gentlemen were chosen to be the majority appointees for the state election board. And I believe one of them has been sitting on that board before. 4 Eggers is his name. His name is Stacy, but he goes by 4. I think he's from Catawba County or Watauga County.
Yeah.
And then Francis DeLuca is a retired Marine colonel. He's from Wilmington area. And Robert Russo, I don't know that much about him. I do believe they're all legal scholars. I know DeLuca was on the North Carolina Ethics Committee.
Yep.
So they have good backgrounds.
So tell us, who ran the elections board previously and for how long?
So the way it works in North Carolina until today is the governor, the party of the governor. So the political party of the governor is the majority party on all election boards, including the state election boards in all 100 counties until today. And because the power was moved from the governor, all the appointments for those seats in the majority were also moved, which meant Dave Bullock could appoint 3 Republicans to be on the state election board. And now every county election board will have a majority of 3 Republicans sitting on it. And from this day forward, unless it gets challenged at the North Carolina Supreme Court, we will have much more oversight and vigor in the election boards. And what I see based on who he's picked, old white men, litigious men, I'm not saying anything bad about them. I think the goal is to move the election board at the state level to focus on policy and put the heavy lifting on the election boards in the counties, which in the past, a lot of counties have just not done their jobs. They don't have good election board directors, as we saw in Montgomery County, which I talked about, several months ago. And what we've seen is instead of doing their job, they pass off, determinations to the state election board. And I think what we're going to start to see now is the counties are going to have to start doing the heavy lifting. And I think they're going to be eager to do that. They're going to need a couple things, though. They've got to have really strong people in those positions in the 3-seat majority. And they need a strong election board director who knows how to compromise across the aisle and coordinate. And that's what I've seen where a lot of these election boards have been flawed. They don't really have good directorships, which is the steady hand. They're not part of the process. They don't sit on the board, but they oversee it. So I think that's a big thing. I also think that we should be looking at what changes are going to come because of this. We'll see microscopic views of the election rolls, the voter rolls. Those are going to be, finally we'll have an audit of the election board.
Transparency, we'll see.
We absolutely will see transparency. One thing I hope will happen is if a voter's registration is changed from party to party, that there's a visible audit trail. So somebody's held accountable, because that happens far too often.
How does that look?
Well, it just means that if you pulled up your voter registration and it changed from Republican to Democrat, beside it would say, Joe Smith changed your affiliation on this date. So
okay.
That it's not a
you would know who did it.
Absolutely.
You would know. Okay.
And it should be to everybody. So, it should be, if I pulled yours up and I saw a change, I could say, hey, did you go in and change it? Because
there'd be a data entry trail. We would say,
correct.
Well, as you might imagine, the Democrats didn't like it. And
I bet they didn't.
Believe it or not, I guess she's only 24, if you can believe it. But anyway, the head of the Democrat Party came out and said, Republicans' passage of an unconstitutional bill. That right there, let's stop right there.
It's not unconstitutional.
It's not unconstitutional. And by the way, it's legislation. So that has to be done by legislation, as it was the last time, right? So it's constitutional.
And she needs to call it a law. It's a constitutional law.
Right. Well, that's a good point. Wrestling the power from the governor and giving it to you is you were not elected to do this duty, etc. I just think that judges disagreed, and there's a very good reason for that. And she needs to shut the hell up.
Well, we fully intended to see the spark of discontent from the Democrats. That's all they do is whine. But in this instance, listen, every Republican, every Democrat, every unaffiliated is going to see some good from this. We're finally going to have audits, which we've been begging for years.
On both sides. Transparency
Right.
On both sides.
Exactly. We're going to really...
That may benefit the Democrats when they need it, and may benefit the Republicans. That's the whole point, is we need some things here that are going to be generally accepted by both sides as fair, stuff that cause ball and strikes. We haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah, and I think finally there are going to be instances where, like in the instance of Dane Scalise in Wilmington, where he filed a lawsuit because the North Carolina State Election Board would not do their job, and the county election board wouldn't do their job. I don't think we're going to have those problems anymore, because I think they're going to have people sitting in those seats that say, time out, stop right here. We're working on this right this minute. We're not going past midnight if that's the deadline. And I also think that we're going to see big changes in how elections are run now. And this, I'm going to get in the details because I think it's really important. What we see in a lot of counties in North Carolina is the Board of Elections director and the Democrats will say, oh, well, there's no Republicans that want to be in that precinct. Well, that's bullshit. That's just plain out bullshit. They just don't want Republicans in that precinct. And now what you're going to see is a lot more bipartisan effort, a lot more, cohesiveness, a lot more activity around elections with more people involved instead of who they want to pay, because some of those are paid positions.
Yeah.
So now that we're going to see more of that, and we're going to see more Republicans say, no, you're not going to let your friend be the judge. The judge needs to be from that precinct.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Big changes coming up. Now we have our section on trans Republican. Who is that typically?
It's usually somebody who just they can't be the big man or big gal that they need to be. And I'm not talking about weight. We're talking about
okay. Well, this is listen. Tillis always makes a list. He voted for all of Biden's appointees, all of them,
and he bragged about it. He got on national television, looked right at the Democrats in their face and said, I voted for every one of your appointees, and I expect you to do the same. What are you, stupid, Tom Tillis? Absolutely.
He's not even doing the same. He's not even doing the same. So, there's a guy who is running called Ed Martin, and I want to give a shout out to Ed Martin and what he has done. So look, the guy is an activist. Okay. I'm going to go over that in a second. But he's done a lot of great things for the party. So for not only for the party, for America, he was put in as a DC circuit prosecutor. He was put in. Now it's time for him to be confirmed. But while he was put in, let me show you a couple of great things he did. He's moving to make Wikipedia not the 501c3 it purports to be, because it is ultra political. It says it's not.
Oh, it is.
But it is ultra political, so holding them accountable. But I think the best, by far the best achievement is this one. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you his statement after that. It's a case, you guys, that a global child exploitation pipeline with illegals was busted. He just, I think 2 days ago, worked on this case in concert with Pam Bondi. And now we're getting it prosecuted. So, he's a doer. But I will tell you that, he defended some January 6th defendants. And if you don't know how Tom.
He didn't just defend them. He fired 15 prosecutors that worked on the cases, who made their clients, plead to things that were not truthful, who told them they had to go take indoctrination training. He fired all 15 of them, and they deserved to be fired. They harassed the people that they were prosecuting. They did things that were not even legal, truthfully. No due process.
Yeah, and that we do not do in this country. We do not allow. It was a political star show trial. So I want to show you, in case you've never heard Tom all cranked up on January 6th, people. He takes real high dudgeon when you even bring him. I think it's like a Clockwork Orange with him when he hears January 6th. Check him out.
Down there. And I saw maybe a few tourists, a few people who got caught up in things. But when you see police barricades breached, when you see police officers assaulted, all of that, or you had to be in close proximity to it. If you were just a tourist, you should have probably lined up at the visitor center and came in.
Oh, bullshit. I was there. I will say that, you know, there were, I think, 1,200, I'm just ballparking it, 1,200 people apprehended and charged and I think convicted during January 6th. And just if you have 1,200 of any teachers, cops, scientists, whatever, you're going to have bad apples. Are there 15% probably of these people, maybe 20%, who are bad actors and toward the scumbag side?
Well, here's the one thing. Here's one thing he cannot say. No one had a gun that came through Washington, D.C. because that's illegal. So, you know, if you're going to say it was really truthfully as bad as it was, the police officers had guns. The crowd did not.
What about Rosemary Boylan? What about Ashley
Babbitt?
I had never one time heard about him talk about the people, the unarmed citizen who was shot in cold blood. Never.
Or my friend Philip, who got shot with a rubber bullet through his face.
Awful. And by the way, he is, I mean, just strenuous and his effusive praise for the Capitol Police. And I have no doubt there were a lot of brave police officers there. There were some scumbag dirtbags who deserved to spend the rest of their lives in jail. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
For the way that they treated people. He has never said that. So he likes to say that he's balanced, Margot.
He's not balanced. He's not only not balanced, I would say that, you know, his voting record reflects exactly what he is. 38% Republican. That's not balanced.
No, it's a Democrat. It's a trans Democrat.
That's right. He's a trans Republican.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me. It's a trans Republican. I
knew what you meant.
I got so caught up in this. I just didn't even know. Yeah.
Can we talk about that for one more minute? He's such a trans Republican that Michael Whatley put out surveys on the phones Sunday evening to see if he could beat his buddy, his good friend, Tom Tillis. So there, and Trump gave Whatley a shout out at the 100-day rally. So clearly they're putting out feelers. Now I'm just going to say this out loud. Please. Michael Whatley has never voted one day in any type of political event. So I can't say that he would vote well, but I can say that he has not represented North Carolina as well as everybody else thinks. So it's the lesser of two evils in that comparison.
Well, it's going to be very interesting because he is up for re-election. We don't know if he's going to run. I think he's already announced he's going to run. You think you've heard something different, but we'll find out. So I want to review one bill right quick that, you know, the Democrats, they cannot read the room. They cannot. This is a very simple bill that passed yesterday. Went and crossed over to the Senate, passed.
It's really sad when you have to advocate for merit. That's really the bottom line, is to advocate for merit over color or religion or whatever factor, you know, sex.
Yeah, and we're paying through the nose. Taxpayers are paying through the nose to, you know, ostensibly be racist. So this bill is very simple: merit-based hiring. I think it's inherently racist to assume that Black people or women or Jews, or, well, Jews aren't, you know, they hate us, but Hispanics or whoever are incapable of getting jobs without lowering standards.
So the one on here that I would really like to talk a little bit about, Sloan, is removes politicized DEI from taxpayer-funded operations. Does that flow to schools as well?
It does.
Libraries.
It doesn't. That would be amazing if it did, wouldn't it?
Well, it says taxpayer funded. We fund those.
Right, but that's state.
I know.
Yeah.
You just got to ask, right? Don't ask.
Yeah, you got to ask. You got to ask, but you know, it doesn't. It would be like your I would say, gosh, I think that's municipal.
It's like training.
So if you work at the Department of Transportation or Department of Public Instruction or whatever, you don't get to cut to the front of the line if you are a Black, lesbian, Muslim female in a wheelchair.
Well, and it also sounds to me like it means that they're going to stop this BS training that really is not. I mean, it's fine to be conscientious of people and different ways of looking at things, but to tell me that I have to, call you a him when you're a her to change my free speech to accommodate you, no.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely insane. So, there's been a lot of hoopla from the Democrat Party over this bill, and they have been licking their chops, ready to go, ready to jump down the throats of Democrats Republicans anytime they put the bill up. So, and I just think it's absolutely hilarious because, a big crowd of them showed up yesterday, and it didn't stop the bill from passing. Here is Majority Leader Jones.
And calling it progress. We've watched government move away from excellence toward agenda hiring, favoring narratives over qualifications, checking boxes instead of resumes. Bureaucracy has grown, not to serve, but to sort, dividing people by race, sex, background, and calling it progress. It puts an end to the idea that the background should outweigh ability. It stops public jobs, promotions, and contracts from being awarded based on political agendas.
Okay, so I like that. I like that a lot. I think everybody should like that, right? And it sounds very, very common sense to me. And this is what Brian Echevarria said, friend of the show's. He had a lot to say.
So this bill is asking, do we end discriminatory practices in our government hiring or not? And while I do appreciate the history of Jim Crow and all these things came along, history, we will be a part of that history. Once again, the Republican Party will deliver our nation from the discriminatory work and policies that Democrats are responsible for, like slavery, the Jim Crow, and everything else. So yes, again, here we are, a part of history. Republicans saying no one should be discriminated against, and Democrats arguing pension is okay. I don't indict in. So
that was straight up fire.
It was fire. And look at his big guns go, man. He was telling them like it is with his guns ablazing, and it was perfect. And honestly, not one better person could have done a better job on the floor. I'm so proud of him as a freshman representative to walk in and breathe fire into a party that really needed it.
He ran on this. Let me show you by contrast. There's a nitwit, and I forgot what her name was. Maria. Well, look at how she comported herself yesterday.
You're assuming something.
Do you believe, Leader Jones, that we'd all be looked upon with the same qualifications, merit? You're a white male.
Am I?
I think so. You can correct me.
You're assuming something.
Yes. All right. I'm sorry, sir. Okay. I will
it.
speak for myself. I'm an Asian Hispanic woman, and Representative Echevarria can correct me too. He's an Afro-Latino male.
Hey, why?
Why
in the world? What?
You know what's so pompous about that? She is sitting in the House of Representatives for the state of North Carolina saying that she does not get the same type of treatment as a gentleman who may not look the same as her, two gentlemen, but there she is. So she obviously has the merit to be there. How asinine can you be?
Well, I don't know, but our good friend Eric Stevenson is here to tell us about that. He's down at the legislature all the time. Eric, he is here, and he's going to weigh in on this absurdity. You gave a shout out to Brian. I mean, he crushed it the other day. I mean, I don't. And the follow up was this lady and others trying to identify each and every person sitting in the gallery who was elected, by the way, by their genitalia, by their skin color, by their. I mean.
by their religion or their sex
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
Were you there, Eric? Were you there in the gallery?
No, I wish I would have been there because I would love to have been identified as being in the gallery. I will provide my phone number and follow up contact information if said person wants to contact me and ask me any questions.
Well, they're gonna need to ask. They're gonna get into your business and they're gonna put you in a category because you don't mean anything to anyone unless you're in the right category, buddy. You got to be in the right category.
Labels matter.
You know, I've mentioned this before. You know, I had some sidebar conversations the last time I was there with a transgender female, with the lady, I forget her name. You said with the purple hair. We had some common sense conversations.
I don't think she's transgender, but yeah. And by the way, Allison, let me tell you something about Allison. Offline, she loves guns.
I'm saying we had a good conversation is what I'm saying. We had a regular conversation, but she has to toe the Democrat company line.
She has to perform.
She does, but we agreed on the fact that we don't want children viewing pornographic and sexually explicit books. So, but the vote didn't reflect that.
Well,
and then Brian, you know, Echeverria is a rock star. I don't care what anybody say.
It's for the party.
If I wasn't living in Harnett County, I would move to Charlotte and find out what district he covers. I would move to Cabarrus County tomorrow. If I wasn't Harnett County through and through, I would move tomorrow. He is a rock star, and he really believes in protecting children, families, regardless of your political affiliation.
Have you met with him before? We need to make that happen, Sloan. Yeah.
Yes. No.
So it would be ideal working under him.
No. So we met. We exchanged phone numbers. And what was crazy? He was busy, right? And it's funny how he knew who I was, and he invited me into his office. Now he was busy. He invited me into his office. We sat down for about 10 minutes. We had a great conversation, talked about the things that we're passionate about, families, children, North Carolina first, not our personal agendas. Yeah. And I'm excited to meet with him again.
So let's talk about the DEI thing and your thoughts on that bill specifically, and what your thoughts about, well, we all know how Brian did because he was fabulous, but what are your thoughts on DEI? I think you were in the military. You probably saw a little bit of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first thing I'll say is, you know, Democrats have dirtied up a lot of words.
Yes.
You know, y'all remember the shows, the Flintstones? We'll have a gay old time. They took that word, right? I'm just saying, like,
they did.
People have taken words, right? So the word diversity.
You can't see master bedroom anymore.
No, you can't. No, I know. What was it? Ensuite.
Ensuite.
What is an ensuite? It's a master bedroom. I don't take any feelings about that. But they've taken words, right?
But they'll say Hitler 24/7.
That's the new playbook. But the word diversity is a beautiful word. The word itself, diversity, that is melting pot. That's the Statue of Liberty standing there. Come on, guys, come to our country legally, integrate legally, and assimilate.
Melting pot, right?
Melting pot. And in business, in the military, and in our personal lives, diversity is the beautiful thing. We have all different kind of neighbors that look different ways, but no one was forced to move besides you, Margot. They said, we want 2 Black families to the left of you. We want 2 Asian families to the right of you. That's forced diversity. That's what DEI is. It's forced diversity. And equity only occurs based on what you put in. I have equity in my home because we bought our home and it's grown in value. Therefore, me and my wife are the only people that have equity in this home. Equity occurs when we are all putting in together, like a mutual fund. We're mutually putting in money into the same fund, and we're benefiting from it together and organically and by choice. DEI does not do that. It's forcing people to be promoted based on a category. And believe it or not, people don't know this. Black people have not benefited the most from DEI. No. That's the biggest illusion. That's the biggest illusion that all these other categories have benefited.
Particularly black men.
Particularly black men, and particularly strong, masculine black men.
Because gay black men get ahead of strong heterosexual black men.
Now you got a trans black man.
But
that's something.
But that's a problem too. We're under attack. You know what I'm saying? Just the leaders of
and
families.
the married black couples.
There you go.
Especially, yeah.
I said this on y'all show before. The family is no longer incentivized. Single women in the projects, in government assisted housing, families are not promoted. The single mother and her kids, the family that I came from, my mom, single parent. If the father were to reunite with the mother, they would lose that housing. There's no incentive on families to be together. So when I hear somebody say, "Oh, why is Trump giving $5,000 to have a baby?" Inside a family. I mean, no one else is incentivizing families to be together.
Well, the Democrats have been doing it for years, but only the other way. If you don't have a husband,
disincentivized.
That correct. And it's been not only temporarily, Margot, you know this, not only just a one-time tax credit, it's been in perpetuity, correct?
Well, and they want free child care. It is in perpetuity with other benefits. It's not that, it's not just a one-time credit. But you're right. They want to give everything for free. So Eric, for 1 second, because we are such it's military month, and I want to recognize you for being such a great veteran. Talk about how you saw DEI just like working at Fort Bragg.
Oh, okay. So we'll take it two places. My last tour of duty, I was on recruiting duty. So, just to pat myself on the back, I was the number 3 recruiter in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Hey,
not surprised.
So when you got it, man.
You got it. So that was under Obama.
Or the Navy.
Sorry, Army, everybody. Navy, I love it. That was under Obama, right? So we, as recruiters, we started seeing the paperwork shift. We came out of the don't ask, don't tell era, and that worked really good. That was a great idea that Clinton had. If somebody does something good, I'm gonna give you credit. I don't care what your party is, right? So the don't ask, don't tell was like, we know who you are, we know how you get down, but we're here to fight together. You know what I'm saying? We don't care. We don't care what your background is, where you're from.
Just don't bring it to work.
It's about what are you doing right here.
Policy everywhere.
Yeah. So we started seeing the paperwork shift. Those questions were taken off. And it was put in, almost like this is what we're looking for. Because we had diversity missions in the military, right? So we would look for Blacks in this area, Asians in this area. We would look for all these different people because we want the Navy to look like America. But we didn't, if a white guy came in, we didn't say, we're not looking for you. No, we just added what we're looking for, right? So we started seeing the shift in the paperwork. And I knew then that it was time for me to retire, and I was getting in that window, and I retired. And in the civilian sector, with the federal government, we also saw people get promoted based on what they look like. So now this is in 2014, right, when I started working for the federal government, and it was just always funny to see. It was that thing to where you couldn't say anything. If you said something, now your job is in jeopardy. And I'm not mad at people for not saying anything, man. Your mortgage, your children's, college. I'm not asking everybody to be an advocate. And I understand some good people's hands were tied. But I just know that I'm called to speak out, to say something at the risk of reputation and money. And I will continue to lose reputation and money fighting for children and fighting against these ridiculous things like DEI in the workforce. I want the best pilot. And again, I saw people get promoted on Fort Bragg and in the military, and it's really discouraging. And it wasn't color. It was every other group you could think of. If it was about color, you would see less complaints. You would see a whole lot less complaints about DEI because so many Black people would have benefited from it, and you would see the benefits. I would love to ask people, Black people, right? How many Black people have you seen benefit from DEI? Because they're telling you to be mad that DEI is being stripped. So please, name by name, tell us the people that were benefited by DEI, and they're no longer going to be benefited now that it's being removed. These offices are being removed. I don't think there's going to be a solid answer.
I mean, let me ask you this. Now we're finding out that the pilot who was, I don't know what plane, was it a Navy plane or that fighter plane? Okay, the helicopter. Now we're finding out that she, female, okay, and she was a beneficiary of DEI, but made mistakes, right? And perhaps she shouldn't have even been flying on that particular mission, given it was at night. So, these things kill. And Eric, I'm pretty sure, just law of probability, there were Black people on the plane that died that the helicopter ran into. So Black people die from DEI just like white people.
And beyond that, right? And it's funny you brought that up because I ride through and around Fort Bragg every day, right? And a portion of the highway that I ride through, if you look off to the right as I'm heading back to Spring Lake, there's a helicopter training facility. Anybody that ride through there, they can see it. So those are inexperienced pilots over there learning. Sure. They're flying over you, but they're in a controlled environment with a trainer, not too far from a joystick on in their side as well.
They can grab it, right? Yeah,
right. But in that situation, to where this person is already trusted to fly the pilot, and they make critical mistakes, it affects more than just them. It affects all the different races that were on the plane, and it's unfortunate. I don't think there's a single Democrat that would get on a plane and feel good about the pilot being the pilot because they were in a specific category and they only have limited training flight time hours
or capabilities
because
they let you pass. And I'm not saying this about any race, color, or gender, but if you don't have the capabilities, they let you pass because they lowered the standards. You're not passing.
That's what merit is all about. So when we heard Majority Leader Jones talk about this is about restoring merit, that's exactly what it is. Colorblind merit, right? And by the way, I got to tell you, if I walked on a plane as all women and they were touting it, they were saying, listen,
get the hell out of there.
Listen, look, we know women, but I'd be like, look, and they were touting it, right? We got, pilot, co-pilot, etc. This is the first all-female thing. I would get my ass off immediately.
Well, let me tell you this, Sloan. Well, let me tell you this. So, I'm a well-traveled person, and I love hearing good stories. And there was a all-female crew. They were all Black, but they all had the years of experience.
Did they make
they didn't tell that part of the story. The magazine that I was reading was just saying this is the first all Black female crew. Might have been with Delta or whatever, right? But I'm like, okay, that's cool. Historically, that is cool. It's a first. Like Obama was a first. I'm cool with the first. But tell the whole story, how those ladies, some was in the military, some had 10, 15, 20 years.
Like what they had to experience. How about this? What we had to do to curate this group of experts who all happen to be Black women. That's great because you're telling the story. Because you're left to wonder, and you're pretty much filling in the blanks and saying, well, they tried to get all Black women, and then your assumption is they do whatever they took to do it. No, it didn't happen by chance, right? It happened because we cultivated people who are already experts, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and again, tell the whole story. And some of those girls started flying when they were like 12 years old. Don't marginalize their stories and accomplishments by saying they're all Black females.
What's the name of that movie? Hidden Figures.
Oh, Hidden Colors?
Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures.
That's an indicative story of what you're saying. That story, if you just saw the people, you would have no idea. But if you read the book, because there's a book, or saw the movie, you got to see that they were intelligent, worthy, hardworking.
And to go beyond what in those days, well beyond what women did, or white women or
any women,
white men
or men. They had the brain power. They were smart to work for NASA. Hello,
and and that one lady could do more math than the men could.
That's what tell the whole story. Don't just say we're celebrating them because they're all Black pilots or they're all Black scientists. Tell the story. Let's celebrate that. Yes, because we know the history of our country and we're not trying to erase history, right? We want to tell the full story. And when I always have to throw the word organic. When organic diversity occurs, it is a beautiful thing. Organic, not forced. And again, if you're going to tell DEI, tell the story of who's really benefiting from it. It is not black men and women.
Single white women.
Well, tell me
the most benefited from DEI.
Right.
For those that don't know that, I will let you know. HR people will tell you. Single white
progressive. How about single white progressive, mean and nasty?
Now you didn't have to say that mean, and then we don't have any proof that mean and nasty got promoted, do we?
We have proof if they're white progressive women.
Oh, that they might be mean and nasty.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, let me put my black glasses on for the progressives real quick. Hold on.
You got some Malcolm X glass? Okay.
There they go. This is for the progressives.
Oh, Eric. So tell us what you've been up to in the legislature, because I know you're still working on your book campaign. Have you picked up other causes that you're working on as well?
You know, I'm going to say this. I'm working on not being a jack of all trades, right? Because everybody called me and I wanted, oh yeah, okay, yeah. My wife was like, you cannot add one more new thing to your agenda. We'll be married for 20 years in July. So I said, yes, ma'am, I'm not going to add anything else to the agenda. So that's allowed me to really kind of focus on the pavement education project. And I have a stack of books this high, on my bottom hand, this high of the actual books that are in some of our schools, Wake County, Cumberland County, Harnett County. Wow. And it's disgusting to know that children have access to these books. So I really been laser focused on that. And every time I go to the legislature, I want to talk to everybody. I want to talk to the Democrat lawmakers and have regular dinner table conversations. You never know. Maybe something I say to one of them may get them to vote for a House bill that they were told was erasing Black history, like the House Bill 636. Yeah. It was always it's a book ban. They're banning Black books, and I'm like, well, which Black book is on this ban list? You can't show it to me. It doesn't exist.
How can we help you with that? Could we help you and support you in buying books that you could give them so they could finally read them? What can we do?
I would go to the pavement education project.org. I will go to their website and you can see where you can volunteer, and you can see how they want you to contact your legislator. And they even have the books and the statements already ready for you to say, this book is in Wake County and we would like you to fight against this.
Yeah, they've been very helpful and very helpful to lawmakers too in getting that material out. And so,
let me tell you, Sloan and Margot, when you show up in front of someone's door at the people's house, they act different.
I bet.
They may not answer your email, they may not answer your phone call, but when you're there bright and early in the hallway with your cup of coffee, waiting on them to get there, they can't avoid you. You're right there, ready to have a conversation with your representative that represents you. They're there only because of you to represent you. So I want to encourage you to show up at the legislature.
And the other thing is, just like tonight, when you coming on, people treat you differently when you put your face out there, and you do all the time. We do it a lot this way, but you actually go in front of them. They treat you a lot different, don't they, Eric?
Oh, let me tell you. You know, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. When I entered into politics, I said 2 years ago. You know, you guys have always been out there. Y'all faces have always been out there, and I would watch y'all pages. I would see people cussing y'all out. I'm talking about men attacking women. That's crazy, right? I would see men arguing with y'all, cussing y'all out. And I'm just like, oh, that'll never happen to me. And next thing I know, I get active and I'm out here in real life. And next thing I know, I got people death threats in my inbox, calling me all kind of names.
Yeah, and run you off the road in your car.
Trying to,
run off the road in the Tesla. So it's like, man, it's crazy to think that people treat you differently used to mean good. Treat you differently in this space, it means no. You're getting treated bad. And I'm talking about family and friends that have pivoted in the amount of time that they spend with me. I'll say down to 0 phone calls, 0 visits, you know, 0 reaching out, text messages type thing. And I always say, I'm okay with that because I'm fighting to protect my 2 girls from viewing pornographic and sexually explicit books in schools. Gender confusion. There are only 2 genders, not 72 plus.
Thank you.
Children having sex changes. Even since their parents don't care about them, I care about those kids, and they should not be allowed to get sex changes. All the things that Kamala Harris and the DNC celebrated. And even during the DNC, the 5 days, they had a mobile Planned Parenthood abortion clinic in the parking lot.
I know.
And they aborted 25 babies in the parking lot while they cheered inside the DNC celebrating that Planned Parenthood was there. That's the problem I have with when abortions happen. It should be in a safe place and they should be rare. It is not birth control. You know, it should be safe and it should be rare. It shouldn't be a normal thing. I partied last night and I'm going to go have an abortion next week.
That's crazy.
If you're going to have it, you know, if you're going to compromise, safe and rare would be the compromise. You know, of course, most of us are pro-life and we're like, you know, all or nothing. But politically, we're seeing the narrative of safe and rare.
Whether the culture of death, truly, I think people are seeing through that. But well, thank you for coming on. I'm telling you, it's always a pleasure when you come on, when you give your perspective.
We would love to have you on more often.
Oh man, look, let me tell you, I don't be wanting to ask y'all like, can I come on y'all show and talk? Because I really love coming on here and talking because you guys have a lot of influence, and I love the fact that we have different perspectives, different backgrounds, and you have 2 unique backgrounds. I have a unique background, and we're able to share those perspectives. And when I repost you guys and stuff on my page, people that like me and follow me, they get introduced to y'all. And then I've had several people that follow you guys. They end up following me on X, and I appreciate it because I always
you ran your ass off the road. Remember?
Look. Let me tell you. Let me story. I got ran off the road because of y'all. But look, this is for all of the large celebrity X accounts. This is for y'all. If I put these celebrity glasses on, I need to know what y'all are doing in real life, large accounts, because I got a feeling a lot of y'all are just on here monetizing hate. Yeah, you got conservative by your name. Yeah, you got MAGA flags and all that in your banner. But I don't see no history of y'all doing anything out here in real life. Are you a delegate? Are you at your precinct? Are you in your county? Are you registering voters?
Are you getting bad people out of school?
Why we show our faces, Eric?
Yeah.
That's exactly
I don't think so. I've been doing my research on some of these big conservative accounts, and I'm not seeing any real life. All I see them say is, "Do you like Laura Trump?" You know, these questions. Every day is a new question. Hit like if you support Elon. And I'm like, why are all these big accounts doing these heavily reposted algorithmic?
Let's go with it.
Why are they doing this? Where's the substance? Tell me. I just went to a rally. I just left the legislative building. I just left a county commissioners meeting, a city council meeting, a school board meeting. I don't see any of these big accounts doing anything in real life. So I'm still waiting on them to do something in real life before I believe that they really are part of.
Well, we're doing it. And I will say one thing for
that's why we put our face out there. That's why we do the show. So we're always doing it. Yeah, and I think we've got to be accountable to each other for doing this. But we're going to be back on Tuesday night doing the same thing. We may have you on. It depends on what bills are up. Yeah. Take
your suit out.
Your bill, your bill is going to when is that bill coming up?
He's trying to be Hollywood.
Which 2 bills do you have left up to cross over? The library bill, you've got the library bill to cross over, and which other one?
I'm bad with numbers.
Okay. But we're waiting on crossover because May 8th it's got to cross over. So we're waiting. We're going to have a very, very big week next week. We may be on 3 nights next week just to cover the bills that are crossing over, you guys. So
what's Stein going to do when it gets through the Senate?
Well, we know.
I hate to jump the gun, but you know what's going to happen.
The Senate is not our problem, Eric, because we have a supermajority in the Senate. So right. Your question really is, once the veto happens, because that's what's going to happen, who's going to help us override. That's what your real question is.
And do y'all know the number off the top of your head? How many do we need to help us? 3, 5? Do we know the number of how many?
We need one. I think we need one to cross over.
One.
That's possible.
Just one.
Yeah. One warm-blooded American that cares about North Carolina. We just need one.
Well,
right?
the good news is all three of us care.
We need to work on it. You're down there all the time. Need to work on it. So until next week, we will see you next week. We're going to follow those bills. Eric, we're going to have you on when they cross over because I know they will. And then we're going to put the pressure on for the override. But we're just taking baby steps here, guys. The crossovers.
We're going to limit Eric to one pair of glasses next time. Have a good evening.
Don't limit him. I may bring a collection on myself. Listen, you got to have the right shoes. You got to change out the shoes, the watches, and the footwear. Those are the 3 things always have to happen.
And the glasses.
That's right. I wear, yes.
Here's the sign-off moment. There you go.
He's my favorite.
Those are my favorites, actually, if we were going to pick.
Getting down to business.
All right, Eric. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Have a wonderful weekend, guys. Thank you.
Coming.
Share this with 10 of your.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.